Hello and welcome to this channel. Every great once in a while, a new nation is born. The American one was a long time ago, or so you might think. Sure, we learned about it in school, the usual story. Revolution, independence, the writing of the Constitution. But if you ask anyone who lived through it, any of it, they'd tell you the story's a lot longer, a lot messier, and a whole lot more interesting. They'd tell you about the times when everything hung in the balance and the nation as we know it might have ended right then and there. They'd tell you about the turning points that made America what it is today. And the first one happened early, during the Revolutionary War, right around here, right around 1777. The battle was fierce. The British were coming. The Americans were determined to stop them. And in the end, they won. The Americans won their independence and a whole new way of thinking about governments. That led to the next turning point, writing the Constitution in 1787. The Articles of Confederation had failed. The new nation needed a new government. The stakes couldn't have been higher. The result was a federal republic, the first of its kind, built on a set of principles that were also new: separation of power, checks and balances, a Supreme Court. And all of this was designed to prevent any one person or any one part of the country from becoming too powerful. Out of that came the United States as we know it, or at least we did. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase nearly doubled the size of the country. This vast new territory would eventually become the battleground for the next turning point, the Civil War. When it comes to the Civil War, most people think of Abraham Lincoln and 4 years of bloodshed. But really, it was about slavery, identity, states' rights, and who had the power to make laws for an ever-growing nation. The war ended slavery and reaffirmed the power of the federal government. But its legacy would haunt the country for generations to come. Reconstruction promised equality and justice, but those promises didn't last long. By the end of the century, the country had changed. The Industrial Revolution had brought factories, railroads, and big business. Cities had grown. Wealth had soared. But for many Americans, life was still about hard work and little pay. Then came World War I, which the United States entered late, but from which it emerged even more powerful. Victory abroad fueled prosperity at home, but also contributed to an economic collapse. In the 1930s, people lost faith in banks. People lost their savings. The Great Depression had turned ordinary people into the forgotten people. But Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal turned things around by offering support, reform, and a safety net that still exists today. In the 1950s and 60s, the United States became a mass consumer society, but not an equal one. Segregation and discrimination were still the law of the land for many. But that began to change during the Civil Rights Movement. For over a decade, people marched, they boycotted, they sat in, they demanded change, and they got it through legislation, but more importantly, through a permanent shift in national consciousness. But another battle was raging. The Vietnam War was dividing the country like never before. Trust in government was at an all-time low. The economy was booming, but so were protests. Many Americans began to question their country's role in the world and in their own communities. In 1973, the Watergate scandal led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon, a president who had won re-election in a landslide just months before. It was a stunning turn of events that revealed the dark side of American power. In the 1980s and 90s, the digital revolution swept the globe. The internet and personal computing transformed communication, the economy, daily life. Almost overnight, it felt like anything was possible. But on September 11, 2001, everything changed again. The attacks on New York and Washington, D.C. redefined American foreign policy and launched a new era of national security, surveillance, and war. In 2008, the entire global financial system nearly collapsed. Banks failed, people lost their homes and jobs, and the U.S. government stepped in to save the day. And today, We live in an age of social media, an age of hashtags and trending topics, where what seems like everyone can share everything with everyone else all the time. In some ways, it's the ultimate extension of the American ideal of democracy and open exchange. But in other ways, it feels like we're losing touch with each other and losing touch with the truth. In just 3 minutes, we've traveled through revolutions, wars, depressions, and digital revolutions. We've met some of the people whose ideas and actions changed the course of American history. And we've seen how, even in a nation as old as ours, new turns, new challenges, and new opportunities keep coming around every bend. This has been Rewind. If you want to see more stories like these, follow our channel.